Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, as you just saw, we picked up a new build. Now, I wasn't really planning on buying a new build this soon because we are still working on the 89 SI. I've still got a decent amount of work to do on this guy, paint it, and then put it all back together. But I was browsing Facebook Marketplace, as I do basically every day, looking for good deals, parts, things like that. And I saw a picture of a CRX that stood out to me. I'll show you right here. It's got a unique feature, the ZC hood, which was not available here in the United States. So those hoods go for a pretty decent amount, anywhere from $500, $600 in good shape. So I messaged the guy immediately, sent him a message, asking him about the car. He really was kind of vague on some of the details, and I didn't want to push the questioning too much because, when you start Facebook messaging people about stuff they've got for sale. A lot of sellers will get spooked when you start asking too many questions. They don't want to waste their time, especially for such a low cost item. So I didn't push it. I just asked the necessities, and then I started trying to arrange a way for me to pick this car up. So a buddy of mine, Dustin, he actually helped me out big time. He has a trailer and a truck, and we loaded up that weekend and took off and picked this thing up. Now, this thing was all the way down in central Mississippi, which it's about 7 hours to get down there. So it's a pretty long haul, and I was hoping the car wasn't completely trashed. And really, I haven't really dug into it, so it still could be a little worse than I'm thinking. It does have a lot of flaws, and it's going to take a lot of work if we decide we're actually going to build this thing and get it back on the road. So let's go out here and clean this thing off. It did snow. I'm going to dust it off, open it up, and just take a look and see what we've got. First things first, that hood. So that's the whole reason I bought the car, was this hood here. Considering the price of the car was 600 bucks, I'd say the hood alone made it worth it. So let's open this thing up, just take a look. Some of the things that I've noticed that are going to need to be replaced are these side moldings, or just some pieces of plastic that have been glued on. There's a lot of body filler on the driver's side door and the quarter panel back here. It's really going to be a job to get all that off. I may end up needing to replace the entire door. The SI wheels have been replaced with just some steelies. There is a little bit of rust bubbling up right here on the quarter panel, but I don't think it's anything that can't be recovered. The bumpers have all been painted over with this really thick black satin paint, even the trim, so I'll end up having to restore that trim if I keep these bumpers and not find some replacements. Now, the front bumper has actually been cut out here in the front, so my goal is going to be to actually buy a new bumper here on the front, because it's got some fiberglass work that somebody in the past has tried to do a repair. I'll probably keep the front lip and try to restore it as well. The headlights, you can't really tell here, but when it was cleaned up a little bit better, they were actually kind of dark inside, so all the chrome has come off, so I'll need to replace these. These aren't the factory ones, these are some depot, so no big deal there. Same for the corners, they're really cracked and glazed over, so those will have to be replaced. Now you can see here on the fender, if you can, it's also got some Bondo work and a lot of cracks here, so I'll need to replace this passenger fender as well. So on both sides, it's got this Home Depot trim that's been glued on. That'll have to be replaced with the OE stuff with all the clips. The windshield is cracked, so that'll need to go. Sunroof isn't too bad. There's a little bubbling around the edges. It might need to be replaced. I might be able to repair that. We'll just have to see once we dig into it. Quarter panel's not bad. It may have had some body work in the past. It's got a little bit of a different shape right here that will have to be worked out. It does have the original taillights, but the problem with these taillights is they've got tons of moisture and mildew inside of them, so that's probably going to pose a problem to use these taillights. I just noticed here there's a crack as well. So I'll be looking for a set of taillights as well. The passenger rear triangle is missing, so I'll be on the hunt for one of those as well. So this will be my first time opening up the trunk back here. Let's hope it actually opens up. Let's see. Nope. All right, let's move to the inside real quick. Right off the bat, you can see this thing is a mess. It's got red dirt and mud on every surface. So this door panel is destroyed. It'll need to be replaced. You can also see how the driver's seat needs to be replaced. The smell in here is pretty bad. It smells really mildewy and dirty. A lot of people have been asking if this is actually a flood car. It has a lot of dirt on everything and a lot of moisture in here, but it doesn't appear to be a flood car to me. The car has 235,000 miles on it. The dash is mostly intact, just very dirty. There is some cracks over here. You can see there's a little bit of a crack right there. The carpet is definitely needs to be replaced. I don't know if cleaning it will do much. There's a lot of nastiness going on. Now the passenger side door panel is intact. There's a couple tiny little scratches, or not scratches, but cracks right up here. The passenger seat is intact. There's a couple of holes. There's one here, and there's sun damage up here in the corner. So I'll need to replace that cover as well. Now I haven't looked back here to see what all we've got. The transmission has been removed. You can tell the gears on it are completely destroyed on whatever gear that is. I haven't looked, but he pulled it out. I do have an extra transmission, so if the motor's good, I may be able to use that unless we decide to swap this. Now here's the rear interior. I don't know what all is included. It looks like a part of the cargo cover is here, the spare tire cover. Looks like the cargo box is here, but it will need to be rebuilt from moisture damage. Got the spare tire carpet. Looks like there's a couple of axles, a starter down here. It's got a lot of parts, but really to know for sure what all we're gonna need, we're just gotta start pulling this thing apart and just start cleaning things and checking the condition. Here's the issue with the transmission I was talking about. These are completely broken off, these teeth. I'm not sure if this is salvageable. It might be able to be rebuilt. There's a couple that are missing gear or missing teeth on them. I'm not going to mess with that right now. Here's the casing to the transmission. I may need to pull this transmission and shift linkage out to see what's underneath here. So that's what I'm going to do. Hey, here's the missing door cap. Hey, the cargo box is here. Definitely have seen better days. And I got it mostly emptied out in here. There's still battery plastics are in here, different mounts. Yeah, I'm gonna need some shocks for the hatch as well. Transmission casing. Well, here's the inside of the trunk. It's pretty nasty back here. There is some moisture down the bottom. Got the snorkel, floor mounts. It really doesn't look horrible. It's not all rusted out, so that's a good thing. There's a lot of sand in here, so I guess it came from even further south than where we picked it up in Mississippi. It does have a lot of the rear plastics in here. They're really sun faded and dirty, so I'm going to clean those up eventually, and we'll see if we can bring any life back to these. It looks like we probably can. Looks like I'm going to be needing quite a bit of rear interior. You can now see that the back of the seats are also torn, so we'll definitely need to recover these. One thing I find humorous is what I found in here in the actual cargo box. The go-to extra main relay. That's hilarious. You have to have one of these on hand if you have a CRX. Well, unfortunately, I did not find the other half of the cargo cover, so we only have this small section here. So it's another item that I will have to locate. One of the biggest things about the car that I noticed was the intact climate control. You can tell, no cracks or breaks in the climate control. Pretty rare find there. That's almost worth the price of the car. Nothing interesting in here. A drill bit. So here's a closer look at the passenger door panel. As you can see, it is intact. A couple small cracks, as you can see them there. But I think this is salvageable. Since this is an 88, we don't have the seatbelt light cover that gets broken on nearly every 89 to 91 CRX. But we do have a lot of mildew. All this interior is going to have to come out and be bleached and cleaned very well. So there's a lot of moisture in here. Could be a flood car, I'm not sure. We'll dig in and find out. Okay, as you can see here, the transmission is missing. We saw that in the trunk. Looks like we've got the D16 A6 here. He did say it was running about 6 months prior to me picking it up, and they parked it because the transmission went out on it. Looks like it has the AC compressor in here. The lines are definitely disconnected though. So this is going to be a total tear down, pull out, clean up, possibly engine swap it. This engine may not be good. We'll have to run a compression test on it to see if it's even any good. But the ZC hood, you can tell, has the insulator, but it is in pretty rough shape. Not salvageable most likely. So if we want to run an insulator, we'll have to source one of those. This has the Japanese writing label on it. But for the most part, everything does appear to be here. So it is a complete car. What I'm going to do with it, I'm not sure yet. We'll have to really dig into it and determine that once we can clean it up, start pulling things apart and stripping paint off, things like that. Well, there it was. You let me know what you think about it. Did I make a bad purchase at 600 bucks? I don't know. I mean, I kind of have questions in my mind whether I did or not. I think it's got a lot of good parts on it, but I don't know if it's savable or not. Let me know in the comments below if you think that car is rebuildable and we can actually rebuild it for a reasonable cost. It looks like we're gonna have to buy a lot of parts, and a lot of parts that are hard to find. The 88 door panel on the driver's side is really difficult to find. It was a 1-year door panel, unless I end up importing one from a different country, because the CRXs in other countries were actually the same as the 88s. They didn't have the door mounted seat belts like we do in the 89 to 91 here. So that's the majority of the cars in the US are the door mounted seat belts. So it's going to be a task, but it might be worth it in the end. Well, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you liked the video. I just wanted to give you a rundown of what we were actually up to and picking that car up. Hopefully we'll get back on the 89 CRX in the next video. If not, we may have a surprise for the 88.